of the biggest meals of the year is always the Christmas dinner. And we're here at Albertson's with Mark Doucette, who is the head sales manager for the meat department for Albertson's. Prime rib can be a pretty intimidating cut of meat to prepare for the holidays. What should they look for in a cut of meat?
Okay, the one thing you want is good marbling. I would highly recommend that prime. It eats very well. It's not much of a noticeable difference between prime and choice. Retail is going to be about $4 or $5 cheaper per pound, and you're basically guaranteed a quality eating experience.
What should you plan on as far as the amount that you should purchase for the number of people that you're serving?
Okay, for basically, and I'm going to give you recommendations to get some leftovers, because that's almost the
that's
best
the
part
best
of the meal.
part.
Yes.
Absolutely, leftovers.
So if you're going to have a bone-in rib roast, you basically want to plan for a pound and a half per person. If you're going to do boneless, you can reduce that to about a pound per person.
Now let's talk about preparation and cooking. What would you suggest? I mean, would you suggest a marinade? Would you suggest a rub? What's the best way to do that?
I would suggest a rub, because
Okay.
really you want the natural flavor of the meat to come through. And you can make up your own rubs, whether it's with garlic salt and peppercorn or onion powder, or you can get some pre-made rubs that are specifically designed, like a Spadel seasoning. You can get the McCormick items off the shelf. Either that, or just ask any meat manager or butcher block clerk what's their favorite way of seasoning their prime rib. And many of them have their own special recipes that have been tried and true throughout the years that they're in love with, and trust me, you will not get steered wrong.
When you're talking about the preparation then, do you roast it? Do you broil it? What's the best way to do it, and for how long?
Definitely you want to roast it. On average, you're going to be about 13 minutes a pound, you can figure. There's a couple of secrets to making sure you got a perfect prime rib. Start with, you want to set it out, especially if it's like a 7-pound roast, let's say.
Okay.
You want to put it out at room temperature about 2 hours.
Oh.
Because the first thing you're going to do is you want to sear that roast. So you're going to want to turn up your oven or your roaster to about 450 degrees.
Okay.
So you're going to put it in that hot roaster oven for about half hour, and then turn it down for 325.
So you don't want to have it come right out from the fridge into the oven. You want to have it roasted
because
a little bit.
otherwise it just drops the temperature of your fridge or your roaster so much it will not sear. And that searing will keep the juices inside and all the flavor inside, and that really turns out a great roast.
Nice.
And then you want to be careful you do not overcook the roast. I highly recommend making sure you use a good meat thermometer.
Okay.
You want to put it in the middle of the meat, make sure it isn't touching the bone or fat, and keep in mind that you basically, especially on a prime rib, you want to cook it a little bit rarer, because you're going to take this roast out of the oven and let it set for about 15 minutes. So it will gather in and relax, and all those juices will gather in. So really, if you want a medium rare roast, you want to take it out when it's rare, because it's going to raise about 10 degrees. So the nice thing about medium rare, that's going to be the center of the roast.
Oh.
And then you got the end cuts, that will be well done. So really, if you cook a prime rib to where the final temperature is medium rare, you're going to get from well done to medium rare. Very important that getting it out of the fridge early and making sure it's set. If you cut it as soon as it comes out of the oven, all the juices basically run away.
Oh, we don't want that.
So, and the juice is what makes it good.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want a dry roast for the holiday meal.
No.
You basically do a good thermometer, follow those basic cooking instructions, and many recipe cookbooks will tell you the same thing. You'll have a great, delicious dinner.
Wonderful. Well, and if people have any questions, they can always just go to their local butcher, Albertson's Butcher Block, talk to the butcher manager or counter manager there, and they'll get them all straightened out.
And they have all the basic cooking instructions. They have all types of seasonings and rubs they can put on. They'll be a great resource for all customers to use. As many people are intimidated about cooking a rib roast for the holidays, it really is probably one of the easier meats to cook.
Sounds
really
great.
is.
Wonderful. Well, Mark, thank you so much, and have a Merry Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas.